Hello and welcome back to another half hour. Yes, now it's just me and a student. I have Eva sitting opposite me. Enfrente, la tengo enfrente, no? Delante. In front of me is delante, pero la tengo enfrente. I have her opposite me. Hello, Eva.
Hello.
Yeah? Are you ready to answer some questions?
Yes, I am.
Or are you ready to ask some questions?
Both.
Both. Ask me how old my father was when he died.
How old was your father when he died?
Okay, he was 83 when he died. And ask me how old he was when I was born.
How old was he when you was born?
When you were.
Where you were born?
When you were born.
Yes.
Repeat.
How old was he when you were born?
Was she or was he?
He.
Okay. How old was he?
How old was he when you was? Oh God. How old was he when you were born? No.
She's having some problems right at the very beginning. I don't know what to do.
I don't know.
Bring me the camera, okay? I'm going to do something to try to calm her down because now she's nervous. She got off to a bad start. Salir con mal pie. Se dice to get, el verbo to get, más off con doble F. To get off to. To get off to a good start, to get off to a bad start. She is getting off to a bad start. So I'm going to apply a special technique, which is to calm her down. Eva.
Yes.
This is only television. It's nothing important. And there are only about 500,000 people watching, so it's not so many.
No.
So just calm down, take it easy, and now let's start again.
Okay.
All right. Ask me how old my father was when he died.
How old was your father when he died?
He was 82, not 83. Ask me how old he was when I was born.
How old was he when you were born?
Good. How old was... Es que quiero ir más la de.
Okay.
How old was he?
How old was he?
Listen, escuche como lo digo yo. Dwas, how old was he? La W de la was se enlaza a la D. Dwas.
How old was he? Okay.
When I was born?
When you were born.
My father, I think, was 28 when I was born. Ask me where he was born.
When?
Where?
Where?
Was
he born?
He was born in Texas. Ask me what part of Texas he was born in.
What part of Texas he was born in?
Pregúntamelo, por favor.
What part of Texas was he born? Texas. Was he born in?
He was born in a very small town. Ask me what the name of the town was.
What was the name of the town?
The name of the town was Bertram. Ask me how to spell it.
How do you spell it?
B-E-R-T-R-A-M. Bertram, como Bel. It's the same origin as Bertrán or Beltrán that you hear in Spain, like Juana la Beltraneja. Bertram. Ask me where Bertram is located in Texas.
Where is Beltrán located?
Bertram.
Bertram.
It's located 40 miles or 70 kilometers from Austin. Ask me if Austin's an important city.
Is Austin an important city?
Yes, it is. Ask me why.
Why is Austin an important city?
It's the capital of the state. Ask me what's located in Austin.
Where?
What is
located in Austin?
The central government of Texas, plus the University of Texas, the main campus of the University of Texas, plus many high-tech companies, and plus, más. It's considered the country music capital of the world, but it's competing with Nashville, Tennessee. Okay. So it's a center for music, high technology, education, and government. Now, my father was born in Bertram, 70 kilometers from Austin, and asked me if he grew up in that little town.
Did he grow up in that town?
Mm-hmm. In that little town, yes, he did. Asked me what the population was of the town at that time.
What was the population at that time?
Of that town?
Yes.
About 700 people.
Only?
Only, yeah. Ask me what the population is now.
What is the population now?
Yeah, what's the population now? Repeat.
What's the population now? Population now.
Now I think it's about 1,000 people. So it has grown.
Yes.
In the past 85 years, it's grown a little bit. Ask me what year he was born in.
What year was he born?
In? He was born in 1923. Ask me if he was born during the Depression.
Was he born during
born?
During the Depression?
No, he wasn't. He was born before the Depression. Ask me when the Depression started.
When did the Depression start?
Well, officially, the Great Depression, la Gran Depresión, officially it started in October 1929 with the Black Monday, I believe, in the stock exchange in New York when the prices fell 30% in one day. But really, the Depression started in 1930, 31, and 32 afterwards. And ask me if the Depression affected my father's family.
Did the Depression affect
your father's
family?
Your
father's family?
Yes, my grandparents? Yes and no, not too much, not too much. Ask me what my grandfather did for a living.
What did your grandfather do? What did your grandfather do for a living?
For a living.
For a living.
For a living.
For a living.
What did your grandfather do? Repeat.
What did your grandfather do?
For a living.
For a living.
He was a doctor. Ask me if he was a specialist.
Was he a specialist?
Porque an?
A specialist?
Was he a specialist?
Was she a specialist?
She?
Was he a specialist?
No, he was a GP. Ask me what GP means.
What does PG mean?
PG means pregnant. Ask me what GP means.
GP.
GP, no, PG.
GP, okay. What does GP mean?
GP means general practitioner. Médico de cabecera o de familia, como se dice aquí. A general practitioner. PG means parental guidance in the movies, okay? All right. Now, ask me if my father had any brothers and sisters.
Did your father have any brothers and sisters?
No, he didn't. He was an only child. Ask me if he was spoiled by his parents.
Was he spoiled by his parents?
Mimado, consentido. I don't think so, no. But he was an only child. Only children are a bit more self-centered. But he was not spoiled. He wasn't spoiled. Ask me if he enjoyed growing up in that small town.
Did he enjoy growing up in that small town?
Yes, he did. All right. Ask me if he went to the university.
Did he go to the university?
Yes, he did. Ask me what university he attended.
What university did he attend?
Repeat.
What university did he attend?
He attended the University of Texas in Austin. Ask me if he went to live in Austin when he decided to attend the university.
Did he go to live in Austin when he decided to go to decided to go to that university?
To that key?
To that university?
Yes, he did. Ask me where he lived in Austin.
Where did he live in Austin?
He lived in a student residence. Ask me if he met my mother there.
Did he meet your mother there?
Yes, he did. Ask me how old he was when he met my mother.
How old was he when he met your mother?
When he qué?
Conoció? Met your mother.
Good. Repeat, please.
How old was he when...
Quiero oír la D en hold.
Yes.
Es que no lo dices. Dices how old.
Yes.
Y no suena mal, pero es que no suena.
How old?
Es como dejar coja la palabra. You understand?
Yes.
How old was
he when he met your mother?
He was 18. He was 18 when he met her. Ask me how old my mother was.
How was your mother?
How old?
How old was your mother?
She was 20. Ask me how much older my mother was than my father.
How much older was your mother than your father?
She was a year and a half older than him. Ask me how they met.
How did they meet?
They met in a very funny way. My mother was, my mother had to do what you call a novatada. Yeah, my mother had to visit the residence of the boys to deliver a message, a singing message, okay? And so she was sent by the girls' residence to the boys' residence to deliver a message. And it was a message she had to read but sing. This message is for David Fisher, David, and she had to sing it.
Yes.
But at the same time, she had to wear a bird cage over her head. A jaula de pájaro, yes. And they made a round and put her head into it. And so she had to sing with the bird in a bird cage. And asked me if the message was for my father.
Was the message for your father?
No, it wasn't. Ask me who the message was for.
Who was the message for?
I don't know. But ask me if my father saw his future wife singing in a bird cage.
Did your father see his future wife singing with a bird cage?
Singing in a bird cage.
Singing in a bird cage.
Yes, he did. Ask me what his first impression was.
What was his first impression?
He thought she was very cute, very beautiful in that bird cage.
Oh.
Ask me if they got married shortly after that.
Did they get married shortly?
After that?
After that?
No, they didn't. Ask me if they started going out together shortly after that.
Did they start going out together shortly after that?
Se dice mucho shortly after that. Poco tiempo después, se dice shortly after that. No, yes, they started going out together shortly after that. Ask me if the relationship got serious quite quickly.
Did the relationship get serious quickly?
Repeat.
Did the relationship get serious?
I don't really know. Ask me if anything happened to change their plans.
Did anything happen to change the plans?
Their plans.
Their plans?
Yes. Ask me what?
What happened?
The Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. Ask me if my father enlisted. Aquí es alistarse, ¿no? Alistar. Which is enlistar in English. Ask me if my father enlisted in the military.
Did your father enlist in the military?
Yes, he did. Ask me which branch of the military he enlisted in.
Which branch did he...
Branch. Rama.
Which branch did he enlist in?
He enlisted in the Army Air Corps. The Army and Cuerpo Aéreo del Ejército. Ask me why he didn't enlist in the Air Force.
Why didn't he enlist in the Air Force?
Because it didn't exist at that time.
Oh.
At that time, the aviation arm of the military belonged to the Army. You understand?
Yes.
So he joined the Army Air Corps. Ask me how long he was involved in the Second World War.
How long was he involved in the Second War? Involved in the Second War?
Second World War.
World War?
The Second World War.
World War.
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 For 3 years, okay? And ask me if he became a pilot.
Did he become a pilot?
Pilot.
Pilot.
Estás cometiendo pequeños errores cada vez. Ask me if he became a pilot.
Did he become a pilot?
Yes, he did. Ask me what kind of plane he flew.
What kind of plane did he
fly? He flew a very fast plane, the fastest plane in the Second World War, called the P-38. All right. Now, ask me if he was sent to the Pacific.
Was he sent to the Pacific?
No, he wasn't. Ask me where he was sent.
Where
was he?
Where was he sent?
He was sent to England, to the Europe. He was sent to Europe. Ask me how long he was involved in the war in Europe.
How long was he involved in the war in Europe?
In the war in Europe, he was involved for only a year. Ask me what he did the first 2 years.
What did he do the first 2 years?
Yeah, because he was in the military for 3 years. Training. Ask me why he needed 2 years to learn to be a pilot.
Why did he need 2 years to be a pilot?
To learn to be.
To learn to be a pilot.
That's the policy. Every pilot took 2 years of flight training. It's a lot of time. But they were good pilots when they were ready, okay? And so ask me where he lived after returning to the States.
Where did he live after returning
to the States?
To the States.
He lived in Austin, Texas. Ask me why.
Why did he live in Austin, Texas?
Because he wanted to finish his studies. All right. Ask me if he got married after returning.
Did he get married after returning?
Yes, he did. Ask me who he married.
Who did he marry?
He married my mother. Yes. Ask me when they got married.
When did they get married?
Could you repeat?
When did they get married? When did they get...
They. Claro, el they suena mal. When did they?
When did they get married?
When did they? They got married in 1946. Okay. And ask me where they got married.
Where did they get married?
I think they got married in Austin, Texas. Ask me what the population is of Austin today.
What's the population of Austin today?
Austin se escribe. Austin. The population of Austin today is about close to 1 million. It's quite big. Ask me what it was at that time.
What was the population at that time?
The population in 1946 was probably 150,000, a lot smaller than today. It's become a very important city. And ask me where they went on their honeymoon.
Where did they go?
They.
Where did they go on their honeymoon?
On there. Where?
Yeah. Okay, where did they go on their honeymoon?
On there.
On their honeymoon.
All right, they went to two places. Galveston, Texas, and Mexico City. All right. Have you ever heard of Galveston?
No, I haven't.
Ask me if Galveston is an important city.
Is
Galveston.
Galveston.
Vení del señor Galvez.
Galvez.
Galvez. El town del señor Galvez.
Galveston.
Sí, pero no hay Z, es ese, Galvez.
Galveston.
Galveston, pero T-O-N.
Okay, Galveston.
Yeah, Galveston. Ask me if Galveston is an important city.
Is Galveston an important city?
Relatively important.
Yes.
Yeah. It's on the coast, the Gulf of Mexico, and it's a relatively important port. It's the entrance to the port of Houston, and that's the third most important port in the United States. Galveston, oh Galveston. It's a song. And it was also very famous for the bucaneros, the pirates of the Caribbean. Jean Lafitte. Have you ever heard of Jean Lafitte?
No, I haven't.
No? Okay, he was a French pirate on the, around Cuba, in that area, Florida, New Orleans, Galveston. So Galveston is an island, like Cadiz. It's almost like Cadiz. It's an island just off the coast, about 100 meters off the coast of Texas, Galveston. So my mother and father went to Galveston on their honeymoon and then to Mexico City. Ask me how long they stayed in Mexico.
How long did they stay in Mexico?
Did they?
Did they stay in Mexico?
How long did they? They. Bring me the camera. They. Ellos. They. Okay? La TH vibrada. They. All right. Ask me how long they stayed in Mexico.
How long did they stay in Mexico?
They stayed in Mexico for about a week, I think, only. All right. Ask me what my father did after returning from the honeymoon.
What did your father do after returning of the honeymoon?
After
returning of the honeymoon. From the honeymoon.
He started studying. Okay. Ask me who paid for the university costs.
Who paid for the university costs?
Uncle Sam. Do you know who Uncle Sam is?
Yes. Well, yes.
The government. Yes. Ask me why the government paid.
Why did the government pay?
Because it's a very important policy by the government to give every soldier returning from the Second World War the option to do higher education, to do a degree, or to finish the degree, and the government paid. And it changed the United States. Because before the war, maybe 15% of the people studied at the university level. 5 or 6 years later, 40%. It went from 15% to 40%, and that changed the cultural level, the professional level of millions of people, and it was one of the most important elements in creating the boom, the economic boom that took place first in the United States and then in Europe, and then finally in the rest of the world, in what we call post-Second World War period, especially from 1945 to 1975. Ask me what happened in 1975.
What happened in 1975?
Well, not really anything. What really happened was in 1973, but the full impact was in 74 and 75. Ask me what happened in 1973.
What happened in 1973?
The oil embargo by the Arab countries. You see, in 1973, there was a war between Egypt, Israel, Syria, and it was called the Yom Kippur. Have you ever heard of the Guerra de Yom Kippur?
No, I haven't.
The Yom Kippur War. And of course, Israel won. And the Arab countries got a bit irritated about this, and they decided to move up the oil price, to use oil como arma, oil as a weapon. And the price of oil, the price of a barrel of oil, went from about $1.50, hoy está casi $100, so $1.50 to $12 in a question of a few months. So it's almost 8 times more expensive.
Yes.
And it created an economic, not a collapse, but it created a quite important recession in 1974, 75, 76. Ask me if that recession affected Spain.
Did that recession affect Spain?
Spain.
Spain?
Yes, it did. And in fact, affected Spain especially after the death of Franco, when Spain needed economic stability in order to perform a democratic transition. So Spain carried out successfully a democratic transition in the middle of an economic recession, too. It was very difficult, which is why Spanish people should be proud of what they achieved. Okay? So, my father, after the war, he went back to study. Ask me if my mother also studied after the war.
Did your mother also study after the war?
War.
The war?
No te va a salir
No.
nunca. War.
War.
Tor.
Tor.
Ahí está. Tor lo dice.
Tor. War.
No, lo cambies. Y sé que es difícil. El pasado de romper en pedazos.
Tor.
Every day I tear, yesterday I tore.
Tor.
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 Echar agua.
Pour.
War.
War.
Okay, no está mal. War.
Have to do
Hay una
it.
canción. War. What is it good for? Absolutely, yeah, war. After the war, my mother didn't study. Ask me if she finished her degree.
Did she finish her degree?
No, she didn't. Ask me what she was studying when the war started.
What did she was studying? What was she was studying when the war?
Estás añadiendo cosas. What was she studying when the war started?
¿Qué dije?
What was she was?
Okay.
Dos
What
veces.
was she
¿Qué
studying?
ella estaba estudiando?
Yes.
What was she studying?
When the war started.
She was studying mathematics. Okay. Ask me why she didn't finish.
Why didn't she finish?
Finish. Because she needed to support her husband. So she worked, and my father studied, and it helped to pay. University is not cheap in America.
Yes, I know.
Okay. And ask me where they lived.
Where did they live?
They lived in a little house in the country, about 10 miles from the university. All right. And ask me how long it took my father to finish his degree.
How long did it take you to your father?
No, take me or take my father?
Did it take him
Okay.
to finish his degree?
I think it took him about, 46, 47. It took him about a year and a half or 2 years to finish his degree. Ask me if I was born during that time.
Were you born during that time?
Born?
Born.
Born. All right.
During that time?
No, I wasn't. Ask me if my sister was born during that time.
Was your sister born?
No lo dices bien.
Digo con D.
Born.
Born.
Torn.
Torn.
Born.
Born.
Y la N, born.
Born.
Na.
Born.
Borna.
Born.
Okay. Borna.
Born.
No, estoy exagerando, pero prefiero oír
Born.
born. No, she wasn't. Ask me when my sister was born.
When was your sister born?
Burn? No. Burn is
Born.
quemar. Born.
Born.
She was born in 1948. Ask me when my father finished his studies.
When did your father finish his studies?
In 47. Ask me if my father was working when my sister was born.
Did your father...
Ask me if my father was working when my sister was born.
Was your father working when your sister was born?
Yes, he was. Ask me if he was working and living in Austin. Was he?
Was he working and living in Austin?
No, he wasn't. Ask me where my parents were living when my sister was born.
Where did your...
Perdona, me equivoco. They were living in Austin.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Ask me where they were living when I was born.
Where did they live?
Where were they?
Where were they living when you were born?
¿Dónde vivían? No, ¿dónde vivieron?
Where
¿Dónde estaban viviendo o vivían? They were living in Houston when I was born.
¿Puede ser dónde estaban viviendo?
Sí, o dónde vivían cuando naciste. En castellano dirías, ¿dónde vivían tus padres cuando naciste? O dónde estaban viviendo. Pero en ambos casos, en inglés, es where were they living?
Okay.
They were living in Houston, Texas, when I was born, but they were living in Austin. And in another class, in the next class, we'll continue the story of my father. There's some interesting moments in his life. And so that'll be for another day.
Okay.
I have one more segment to give to my students, all right? And so I'll see you again soon. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
I'll be right back. I'll be right back, so don't go away.